Have you ever thought about offering a spring plant sale for your farm business? What about this? Have you ever thought about pre-selling it? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. I just put together my promotion for our spring plant pre-sale, and I'm going to walk you through the whole process, how it works, what we think about in case you want to use it as a framework. This is really easy to do. I can't wait to share it with you. Let's get started.
Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show.
Well, welcome to episode 253 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I'm your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers get more confident in their marketing and sales strategies so that you can grow a profitable business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. Big shout out to all of my regular listeners and all of you who binge listen. Big high five to you. If you are new to the podcast, get ready. This one's a good one. Really glad you're here today. Make sure you subscribe to the show and go check out some of my back archived episodes. There are so many good ones here, and you could seriously get an education in farm marketing just by listening to them. You should go check out my first 10. That's a great onboarding process, or even better, get onto my email list, because when you do, I'm going to send you a weekly email for like 3 months, and I'm going to drip out like my curated best of the best content that's going to guide you through the marketing jungle. I'm going to share insiders that you need to be following. I'm going to share the top fundamental principles you need to know, little mini trainings that are free. I'm going to give you a lot of freebies. I'm also going to tell you about ways you could work with me if you want. It's just really good. So you can subscribe by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe and get onto that list. Today's episode is sponsored by my friends at LocalLine. Make the switch to LocalLine and scale your farm business. LocalLine is the all-in-one sales platform for farmers and food hubs. Increase your sales and streamline your processes with features including e-commerce, inventory management, subscriptions, online payments, price lists, and more. Now, unlike many generic e-commerce platforms, LocalLine is actually built for selling local food online. So whether you're a CSA farmer like us, or you sell meat, or you run a food hub, or you sell wholesale, or offer a herd share, LocalLine has the tools and features that you'll need to succeed. Subscriptions start as low as $49 a month with no setup fees, and there are no sales percentages. Plus, if you join LocalLine today, your onboarding manager will help get your storefront migrated at no cost. You'll be up and running in no time. And you guys, their service is outstanding. Bonus, as a podcast listener, LocalLine is also offering a free premium feature for 1 year with your subscription when you use my coupon code MDF2024. So any premium feature that you want, you get to choose. Make the switch today. Go to mydigitalfarmer.com/LocalLine and then enter in that coupon code MDF2024 to get that free premium feature. And now back to the show. Okay, before we get started today, I have an announcement to make. I'm doing a little fun thing next week, starting March 18th through the 22nd. I'm going to be running a live challenge called the I Spy Challenge. And this is coming out of my desire to equip you guys to learn how to build great offers. What's an offer? Well, an offer is when you issue the right product at the right time, at the right price to the right person, right? With just the right words. And sometimes we need to entice someone to take us up on that offer, to buy that thing for the first time. And so how do we go about doing that? Well, we have to get really good at creating offers. And so I thought it would be fun for 5 days to play around in the offer sandbox and experiment with offers. And the way I want to do this is I'm going to be showing up on my social media inside of my Facebook group for CSA farmers. It's called the CSA Marketing Discussion Group. I'll probably show up on Instagram as well at My Digital Farmer. And I'm going to be sharing a daily example of a type of offer that you might see out in the world, in the industry, and how we could apply it to the farming world. And the goal here is just to expose you to the many different formulas of offers that are out there and kind of get you thinking about, what could an offer look like in my business? Now, I want you to, if you're serious about doing the challenge with me, here's kind of how I want to invite you to participate. I don't want it to just be me teaching you one offer every day. I actually want you to be looking for offers in your world for those 5 days. So that's the challenge. Every single day I'm going to say, hey, I want you to put your eyes on, and I want you to look around and try to find an example of an offer somewhere. It can be an offer you see in your local newspaper. It can be an offer you see on the television. It can be an offer you see on a billboard, on a poster, in a Facebook ad. Like, show me an example of an offer. And once you join the challenge, like, you'll get an idea of what that means. But every day your eyes are peeled to find an offer, and I want you to share the offer inside of our community if possible. So if you want to participate in this, like, it's really, really simple. Just subscribe to mydigitalfarmer.com/I spy, ISPY, right? I spy an offer. And that's going to get you on my email list. And then every day of those 5 days, I'm going to email you the challenge, the offer, that I found. And I'm going to kind of expound on it a little bit. And my hope is that after you've seen like 5 of these, your mind's going to start spinning, and you're going to be a little more able to create your own kinds of offers that are compelling for your clients when you're trying to create your products and trying to pitch your products. Okay. So if you want to have fun with this, I think this is something that's going to take you like 5 minutes a day. Once you start looking for offers around you, you're going to start to see them. And the minute you train your eye to notice offers, you're already becoming a better marketer. So I think this will be a fun way to just grow that skill and that muscle. You want to participate? Super easy. Just subscribe at mydigitalfarmer.com/I spy. Go do it today, because we're going to start on March 18th. That's in like 5 days. So if you want to get that first email from me, I'm going to set it up kind of as an automation. So you want to get in there so that you can watch that. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to today's episode, which was inspired by an email that I got from Jessica Gage. So Jessica, if you're listening, I know you're listening because you told me that you listen to a lot of my podcasts. Here's what she emailed me. She said, I love listening to the show and I have an episode request. Could you talk about your plant sale? I'd love the details of planning and marketing it, especially the pre-sale aspect of it. I'm selling seedlings this spring and it's my first year, so I'm learning as I go. Well, here you go, Jessica. I love this idea. And since I'm actually right in the middle of doing my spring plant sale pre-sale promotion right now, I thought, what better timing than to talk about the process with you. So let's get started. I'm going to break it down for you, how we organize our spring plant sale. And, you can do it however you want, but this is just going to give you kind of a framework for you to think about the things you've got to be planning and mapping out in your head before you try to execute this. And then you can kind of adjust it as you go. And since this is releasing like middle of or beginning of March, you still have some time to throw this together. We run our spring plant pre-sale. We typically pre-sell it to our email list on the last week of February. So you could still pull this off in early March. And then we actually end up delivering those plant sale transplants to our customers on 2 separate weekends in May. So there's a Saturday typically on Mother's Day, and then the Saturday after Mother's Day is when we offer them at our farm and people have to come and pick them up there. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the whole process, how we do it. And if you want to take notes, get out a piece of paper and start writing. I'll also have some of the stuff in our show notes at mydigitalfarmer.com/253. Okay, so here we go. Our spring plant sale is, first of all, I think what's noteworthy about it is that it is all sold as a pre-sale. So we don't grow the plants and then hope people will show up when they're ready on a certain day in May when we invite them out to buy them. No, we pre-sell like 95% of the product. That way we know exactly how much to grow and we can get it started in March and feel really confident that it's pre-sold. It's money in the bank. We grow to order. Now, we always grow a little bit extra, number one, in case our germ rates are poor, but also because we know that there will be people that we can promote this to at pickup, and we'll catch a few new clients that way who didn't have the foresight to plan ahead and pre-order. So we want to make sure we can serve some of those people, but I try to make it primarily for my pre-sale folks because I want to train my customer that if you want my transplants, you've got to pre-buy. I'm not the kind of person that offers both. If you want the best option, you really just have to pre-buy, and that's how they learn. Sometimes they learn the hard way. Oh, I don't get the sun sugar cherry tomato unless I do the pre-sale. I'm not going to find those on the plant wagon on the last day when she's getting rid of her leftovers. So we do it as a pre-sale. We sell it. I open up the doors on February 24th this year. So it's always on a Saturday that I open up the doors. And it's usually mid to late February is when I try to do it. This year it's a little bit later than usual because I got sick with pneumonia. And so everything's kind of going a little bit slower than usual. But I'm going to launch it this coming Saturday. By the time you listen to this episode, I will already have all of my results and I will have pre-sold most of it. So I run this promotion campaign for 14 days. If we have to go a little bit extra, we can. But I'm actively promoting it for a total of 14 days. And we sell out every year. This is not something that I stress out about. I don't actually spend a ton of time and energy on it anymore because it really sells itself and I have a system down that works and I really just rinse and repeat the system. Once you build it once, you can just continue to do it again and again. So I'm going to share with you what that system is now. And I just want to encourage you that it might sound like a little bit of work on the front end the very first time you do it, but you can absolutely replicate it and tweak it the next time you do it. Now, like I said, we deliver the product. Well, I should say people come to our farm to pick up their plant sale product on Mother's Day weekend and the weekend after that. We only offer a pickup window of 2 hours, so 10 a.m. to noon on those two Saturdays. And that's it. If they can't make it during that window, there's always 5 to 10 people that can't. And I can accommodate that. I leave the stuff out on the wagon and it's self-serve. And I just sort of text them. But we sort of let them know that this is the fulfillment process. If you can't make it on that time period, you've got to find someone else to come get it for you. Now, we make about 10 grand on this every year. Now, for some of you who are listening, that's going to sound like a lot of money. For some of you, that's going to sound like pocket change. I get that. So, for our business, this is kind of what I would call a mid-range promotion. I feel like it does pretty good considering I only have to send out 3 emails and there's not a lot of work involved. We could definitely sell more. I want to make sure that I say that. We definitely have the email list to do that. We have to turn people away. But the thing is, we only have so much greenhouse space. And so that's sort of our limiting factor. But it's a nice little jump start on the front end of the year, an influx of cash. It fits really well with our production schedule because we aren't super busy in the month of March when we're, putting these seed trays together and stuff. It's something we have the time and space for. Now, if we're doing a whole bunch of wholesale stuff right now and other kinds of retail things, we might not be able to do it. So I think you need to kind of consider that question. Do you have the bandwidth to be able to pull this off? But I just wanted to give you some context for how much we actually earn with this. And I wish I could remember how many orders that is. I want to say it's around 300 orders is what we pull off. Okay. Now, before I get started with step 1, I want to bring up a mindset shift that we had to go through before we started the plant sale. This was an idea that I had heard about from many other farms for a long time before we started it ourselves, and we put it off and resisted doing it because I was telling myself that people, if we offered people transplants to grow their own gardens, then we would have fewer people wanting to buy our CSA, because why would they buy our vegetables if they could grow their own? And so that seemed like I was shooting myself in the foot, like, that's not a good idea. But the reality is when we tried it, we kind of did it on a very small scale the first year, just as a pilot project, and then we've expanded it to kind of our capacity now. What we noticed, though, is that the people who bought it, first of all, primarily, I would say 80 to 85% of our customers who bought stuff from the plant sale are our CSA customers, okay? But they still bought our CSA membership. And if you've been following me, you know that we offer a retail store, online store during the CSA season where our own members can go in and, make a store order on top of their vegetable box, their standard size traditional box. And we just pack that up. We have a separate crew that packs that up and delivers that as well with their box. But we have not only the CSA members do they buy the share, they buy from the online store throughout the summer too. So they're still buying our vegetables, even though they have a garden of their own vegetables. So when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Like, this is the type of product that fits our ideal customer. Our ideal customer loves to eat fresh vegetables, and some of them love to garden, and some of them want to make extra stuff so they can on the side, even though they still want to support us and buy from us. So it's a perfect solution for them. And I just want to bring this up because if you have been asking yourself, well, why would I do this? It's going to make people buy less of my own product. I just want to have challenge that a little bit and maybe encourage you to do a test run and see if that's actually true. It's another item you can put into your ascension ladder, into your product suite. Remember, we make our profits when we make more offers to the same client. We want to get our clients to spend more and more with us every year to increase that customer lifetime value. And this is a great example of a whole product suite that you can add into your ascension ladder. Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School. This is my monthly membership where farmers can come in and build marketing assets one at a time in special 30-day build projects that I've created for you. Right now, there are 8 projects inside of Farm Marketing School, and every month a new one gets added, and you basically subscribe for 30 days, or you can stay in for a couple months or 3 months. You can stay in the whole year. But what you're doing is you go inside and you decide, this is the project that I want to work on. You take the class, the workshop class that's recorded, you just watch it, and then you build it yourself. So this is the DIY version of Accelerator. There's no coaching element or mastermind or Zoom meetups. It's just you going in there, watching the class that the accelerators saw live with me, and then working on it on your own. So if you're a DIY type of person and you think you can do it yourself, this is an amazing resource. There are projects in there for how to build a promotion plan, how to build your email nurture sequence, how to write a great weekly email, how to build the website homepage messaging, what goes on that homepage, how to build a lead magnet, and more. So if you want to see what's in the Farm Marketing School, you can head to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. And I encourage you to subscribe for 1 month. Check it out. I have a whole onboarding, like a crash course in marketing that I encourage you to take in your first week. There's an assessment inside of there that's going to help you know which elements you should build first. It's so good, and I would love it if you would give it a shot for a month. Let me know what you think, and if you decide you like it, you can stay in there for several months in the off season and get a ton of your marketing stuff done. Okay, so yeah, I think I said 85% of our sales goes to CSA members. Then there's about a small 15% percentage of people that are just on my email, like on my store list, or people in the community that only buy our transplants. And that's really all they ever buy from us. And that's okay. Like, I'm willing to accommodate that kind of a client for this purpose. Okay, let's start talking about what the steps are. So step one is I build the offer. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview. So we sell 3-inch herb pots. I think we have like 6 different varieties. We also sell vegetable startups. That's the main stuff that we sell. And those are certified organic and they're sold as a 3-pack. That's how we do it. So they're getting 3 of the same plant. Like if they place an order for 4 sun sugar cherry tomatoes, they're going to get 3 sun sugar cherry tomatoes in that 3-pack that they're going to take home with them. Last year, we started a thing where we created variety packs, and those went over really well too, because we had some people suggest that to us. And that's where we had 3 different varieties of heirloom tomatoes in one variety pack, instead of giving them 3 of the same type of heirloom tomato. We also do that with our cherry tomatoes. We haven't gone any further than that. We've just limited the variety pack to the cherry category or to the tomato category. But I just wanted to bring that up. Now, the average order value for us is $45. I do have a few people, though, that spend like $150 to $200 in vegetable startups. So they must have like massive gardens. I already told you we have limited room in our greenhouse, so we can only sell so much product. And this is actually helps us in our marketing, because I can tell people when I'm pitching it, like, hey, I only have this many cucumbers, or I can only sell this many plants. And that seems to create a sense of urgency. We also set a specific day and time that we open the cart for our plant sale. This year it was February 24th. I have not always done that. So in years past, I just sort of mentally decided, oh, it's time to do the plant sale. And then I sent out my weekly email to my list and I'm like, okay, it's ready. This is the first year that I've actually created a little bit more like a pre-launch, where I've created a little bit of hype, partly because my email list has grown. I know there's going to be, scarcity. Not everybody's going to be able to get what they want. And so I want to give more people an even chance to get the stuff they want by saying, okay, I'm going to open it on a set day at a set time, kind of like I do when I launch my early bird CSA shares. So we're going to see if that makes a difference, if I'm going to see like a bigger push in sales on the first day because of that. But I am also very specific about saying 8 a.m. sharp in my pre-messaging, because by specifying not only a day, but a time that the store opens, you create a sense of like urgency in the customer's mind. Because they're thinking, why would you even say 8 a.m. unless it mattered that I have to be there right at 8 a.m., right? So we want to kind of just hint that it matters that they come early on by giving a suggested time. That's a common tactic that's used in sales. So you can play with that. Okay, we usually sell about 80% of our stock in the first 2 days. That's historically how it's been. So we'll see if that happens again today. And then the rest kind of dribble in over the remaining 2 weeks. Now, after I've kind of figured out, okay, here's my date, my start date, my end date. Here's sort of my goal, how much I want to make. Oh, by the way, we price our pots and our 3-packs at $4. That's what we're priced at right now. For some of you, that's going to sound really low, but that's just based on what's kind of the going rate is around us. It's actually a little bit higher, but also that's what we need to make. We need to charge that. So it got a nice margin there for us. I sit down with Kurt and we review the product list. So this is where we get really clear about what are the transplants going to be that we actually sell. And again, we do this in February together. We usually, the very first time we did it, we had to kind of just shoot from the hip and guess on what we thought people would want in their gardens. My advice to you would be just to choose the popular items that you know everybody wants a lot of. This is something you'll learn, you'll get better and better at the more you do it. But, the obvious ones are the cucumbers, the tomatoes, the peppers, the sweet peppers, the lettuces. To stay away from some of the fringe things like eggplant and fennel. In our first year, we had like almost everything. We had beets, we had cabbage, we had the works, cauliflower, everything. And we just noticed that there were some products that were way, way more popular than others. And since we have limited space in our greenhouse, we could look at that after the first year and say, well, only half of this flat that we had prepared sold. And so I would rather use that precious greenhouse space to make a few more extra Market More cucumbers because I could have sold more of those, right? So that's just a little bit of trial and error. But I would just caution you. I'd say make sure you're thinking about what are the popular items that everybody wants a lot of, the things that they're going to can with or freeze. And I wouldn't give too many options. Just there's something to be said with overwhelm and having too many decisions to make. So when I say options, I don't mean just options in general, like, oh, I'm going to have 45 varieties of vegetables as opposed to 20. I also mean options within the varieties. So instead of having, 5 different kinds of beets, pick one, right? If you're going to do beets, we don't even do beets. Or this year we lowered the number of heirloom tomatoes down from, I think we had 8 varieties and now we have 5 or 4 or 5, and then we have a variety pack. So we're just trying to make it less confusing for the customer. And we're also hoping that it will help us in terms of like filling out our flats. I know that some of you are wondering, well, what are the varieties that you sold? And I'll tell you, I can tell you what the best sellers were. Basil Genovese is our most popular product out of everything. We sold more basil than we did any vegetables. Parsley was our second highest herb. And then as far as vegetable goes, our other really popular ones were Market More, the slicer cucumber, our pickling cucumbers. Within the pepper category, we have the red and the yellow bell sweet pepper. Our yummy orange snack pepper is out of this world popular. Early jalapenos, believe it or not. And then onions, scallion onions, and zucchini are the other ones. The tomato category has a lot of potential. So the cherry tomato, the sun sugar, the red cherry bomb. We only offer one globe tomato variety. That is also very popular because people want to can with that. And then our San Marzano as the red Roma. That's definitely the favorite one there. I wouldn't say we have an heirloom tomato that knocks it out of the park every year. We're sort of trying to figure that out. So we do have variety packs, a variety pack for cherry tomatoes, a variety pack of 3 for the heirlooms, and those are also popular as well. So if you want to see exactly what I sold, I'm going to give you a chance later on to actually download the price list, the kind of menu that I send out in the email to everyone, and you'll be able to look at what we've done if that's interesting to you. So you want to build out your product list and then get really clear on how many 3-packs of each variety you are going to make. And we do them in multiples of 12. So Kurt and I just went through this the other day because I had to put them into the store. And he was like, okay, I'm looking at my list right now. We have 63 packs of the yellow golden cow bell pepper. And we have 48 of the cherry tomato variety packs. We could totally sell more than that, but we actually don't want to sell too many because we want some people to actually go and buy the 3-pack, right? Because we're selling them by the 3-pack too. So anyway, we'll go through them one by one. He'll tell me how many he plans to produce. And we'll also look at our data from last year. How much did we actually sell? And so we're trying to, again, get that right mix because we only have so much space in the greenhouse. But that's kind of that process for that. Then I go and I create the price list, or what I call the plant cell catalog. And I have a design on Canva that I've been using the last 3 years. And I will be happy to share that Canva template with you. If you want to grab it, you have to subscribe at mydigitalfarmer.com/plant sale. And then you might have to check your promotions tab. Sometimes those emails go in there. But when you open up the confirmation email, the link to that Canva template will be inside. And you can make a copy of it if you want and use it as kind of your starter template if you want to do something like this. But it'll also show you, what I'm actually selling this year, if you want to kind of know what are the varieties. So the types of things that go on this flyer, this is for us, I think it's 3 pages. I'm trying to remember now. Maybe it's 4. No, I think it's 3. On the front part of the flyer, I try to put the most important, like how to place your order kind of information there. And then the price list and menu stuff is on page 2 and 3. So I make it really clear. There's a big header image, spring plant pre-sale. I have my USDA organic logos in there. And then I say online pre-order opens Saturday, February 24th at 8 a.m. Deadline March 16th. Pick up at farm May 18th or 25th from 10 a.m. to noon. Order at, and here's the link. You could even put a QR code if you want on the flyer. I did not do that. Then I have in the middle of that section, I have how to place your order, and I spell out step 1, step 2, step 3. Like here, you're going to pre-order your transplants at this link starting February 24th. We have single herb pots, and we have vegetable transplants sold in 3 packs. They're $4 each. They're all certified organic. The deadline is this, minimum order $12. So I kind of give that information. Step 2, you're going to have to choose 2 plant sale pickup options. And then I tell them what they'll be. Step 3, I'm going to email you the week before your order is ready to confirm your pickup. And step 4, pick up your order at our farm on one of these 2 days. Here's our address. So I make sure I have my address in the flyer as well in case someone is getting this and they live, in Southern Michigan. They know exactly where we are. I mentioned it's a drive-through pickup and that your entire order will be pre-packed in a flat box with each plant labeled for easy identification. Okay. So that's kind of like the specifics of how the buying process and the fulfillment process works. So they can read that at a glance. And I think that's important to have on the first page. And then I start with, the herbs section. So we have 5 herbs and they're just listed. I also put a badge, like a bestseller medal, or it's actually a ribbon, next to the products that are our best sellers, because I want them to know, that's social proof. I want them to know, hey, these are going to be hot and these are liked by a lot of people. The second and third pages are the same kind of thing where I then do the vegetable 3 packs. And this year I changed my price list a little bit. I used to just do it alphabetically. And now I'm actually organizing it by category. So I have a cucumber section. I have a sweet pepper section, a hot pepper section, lettuce and greens, which includes my kale and my Swiss chard. I have my cold crops. I have my popular favorites, which is sort of the catch-all that I didn't want to make separate categories for all the other things. And then the third page is just tomatoes. Like tomatoes gets its own page. I have a cherry tomato section, globe tomato section, Roma tomato section, heirloom tomato section, and then my variety packs, because I want to encourage people to buy those. I actually put boxes around them, and that's sort of a trick when it comes to building menus, a way to capture the attention, and people tend to buy things that you put boxes around. So I have those sort of highlighted, okay? And then on all 3 pages, I've got pre-order, at this link. I've got the link to buy, and I've got the price up in the top right corner. So I just wanted to kind of tell you, this is not a complicated flyer. I did not actually include pictures of the vegetables themselves. I thought about it. I actually started building a really beautiful, fancy plant catalog with pictures for everything. And then I stopped because I thought, why am I making this more difficult for myself? Because I have no trouble selling this product the way it is. And I'm just going to tweak the one I had last year, and we're not going to spend 5 hours to make a beautiful brochure. So hopefully that's encouraging to you. This does not have to be gorgeous. You just, I think, have to explain. I do actually give some information about each variety. So like I'll pull, for example, cilantro santo, it says annual, slow bolting variety, for late spring, used for salsa. And then if it's a vegetable startup, I'll actually say like how many days it takes, right, to harvest. I'll put that information in there because I think if you're a gardener, you might want to know that. Now, once I had completed this in Canva, I downloaded it as a PDF document. And then I uploaded that PDF into my WordPress website, into the media library. And that allows me then to grab the URL address of that actual price list. And then I can copy and paste that into my marketing, into my emails. Okay, so that was kind of the next step. Then I had to actually go and create the store listings in LocalLine, which is my e-commerce platform. I have done this in years past. So this year that didn't really require a lot of work. I had to just go in and make everything visible, and I had to update a little bit of the language inside of the product descriptions. But at a bare minimum, when you're loading things into your store, make sure that each product has a pretty picture of the vegetable. Ideally more than one, but at least one. That picture is really important. The name that you're using should be very clear. So if it's dinosaur kale, you might want to have kale, dinosaur, kale, curly, right? So have sort of a naming convention. If you have a variety pack like I do, I recommend that you create like a special graphic for it so that the word variety pack, tomato variety pack, shows up on the main image in the store so that pops, and then they can see, oh, that's not just another tomato, but that's actually the variety pack, and the image will help them identify that. I had to go set up my 2 pickup site locations for the checkout process inside of Local Line. I also went up into the storefront banner and changed some language there so that the how to order process was very clear. That way, if somebody brand new comes into the store for the first time, they understand how this process will work before they get started. Then I organized the plants into categories, and then I was able to very easily move the categories around, just dragging and dropping them so that they appeared in a certain order in my store. And I turned on the grid view instead of the list view of the products, and I really like how that looks. I just think it's a much better user experience. So if you have Local Line and you haven't tried that feature, definitely do that. Okay, so that process took me about an hour because I had about 40 products, 30 products that I had to do that for. And I had to remove some and change the language. Okay, let's talk about the marketing element. So I do a pre-launch for this, and I didn't used to do that. Like I said, I used to just send out an email. This year, I created a little bit more hype because I wanted to make people aware that this was coming so they could get excited about it. First of all, I had to set that cart open date and the cart close date, and I already talked about that at the beginning. And then that's February 24th for us this year in 2024. And then about 10 days, roughly, before that, I started talking about our plant sale on social media. I would tease it out on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page, and in my Instagram stories. And so I would be posting pictures of vegetables that were still in the field that were ready to harvest, right? Kind of like, I can't wait to have a great tasting tomato. Can you? I'm going to grow some in my garden. Or I would have pictures of actual transplants that were in our greenhouse from 2 years ago where I had snapped some really good pictures. I repurposed those, and I kind of started sharing how, hey, our spring plant sale is coming up soon. We're going to open the doors on February 24th. If you want to get on my email list and get the menu, you got to go to this link. I had question posts scattered in there as well on social media, like what vegetable is a must-have in your garden every year? And I got like 65 comments. And that also helped me kind of know, oh yeah, tomatoes, peppers, those are the main things. I better make sure that I have that stuff in my menu. Another question post that I think I did was, do you have a small, medium, or big garden, or do you container garden? Just trying to get a poll and get some interaction. Now, the call to action for all of these emails, like the whole reason I'm doing this stuff on social is because I want them to get onto my email list. So I would say, hey, I've got a price list. I've got this plant catalog that I want to send you a few days before the store opens so that you can prepare and map out and build your garden plan. So if you want to have that price list a few days in advance and not wait until 8 a.m. when everyone else is fighting to buy the product, then you need to get on my list. And that has been a very compelling argument. My email list grows more during this promotion than any other time of year. And I bring that up because sometimes our promotional launches, even if they don't make us oodles of money, they can function as great list builders. So that is definitely happening for me here as well. It's kind of a bonus side effect. I'm also sharing details of when the pickup is going to be. I make sure that I bring that up from time to time in my social media, kind of here in the hype phase. I'm talking about how it's certified organic. I'm asking people to share with someone else who might be a gardener. Okay, so there's sort of like a social media rah-rah. I also have a Facebook group for my CSA members, and some of that stuff is getting shared into that group as well to make sure that they're seeing it. Now, I have an email marketing strategy that's kind of the other big heavy lifter in this promotion. I will send an email to my entire list. Actually, I did that today on the Wednesday before the cart opens. And that's like the value load email. It includes all the details for how it works. It includes the pricing it includes the link to that price list menu. Okay, so they click on the button and they can go see the PDF that lives on my website. They can print it out. And the main thing that I'm hyping in there is that the doors aren't opening until 8 a.m. If they try to click on this, like I give them the store link, and I know some people try to click on it, but I tell them if you go there right now, it's going to say invalid price list. It's going to look a little confusing because there's going to be nothing there, but you can't actually buy until 8 a.m. And I tell them why, because I have so many people now that want this stuff that I feel like I have to, make it even and give everyone an equal shot at getting it. So I'm having to set a certain time that it opens and a certain day. Now, all of that language is designed to make them feel scarcity, right? To make them be like, oh, it matters that I go and buy on the first day in the first few hours if I want to get what I want. So that's the first email. The very next day, I pre-write another email that has a link to a blog. I think it was Better Homes and Garden. Has a great blog that includes some garden maps, garden plans for different size gardens. And I love this blog because I just think it's so helpful if you're a beginner gardener and you're not exactly sure how to map out your garden. Like, that's a super helpful tool. And rather than me making a whole separate resource myself, I can just send people to somebody who already knows how to do this really well and say, go read this, go download these maps, and then use them as sort of a template, and then pull out my price list, and you can build your own garden map using that resource. Okay, so I coach them to do that, to circle the plants they want on my price list. That's sort of the message of that email. And once again, a reminder that they can't order until the 24th, but get their order ready, figure out what they want, because there's going to be a rush. Then the next day, which is Friday, this is the day before the cart opens, I send a quick reminder email. This is a shorter email around 3 o'clock in the afternoon before they go home from work, reminding them that the cart will be opening tomorrow. And I tell them, set an alarm. So again, this sort of language makes them think, oh my gosh, I have to set an alarm. There's going to be so many people trying to buy. And it creates a level of urgency. Saturday morning, the cart opens at 8, will open at 8 a.m. And then I send a short email again to everybody saying, store is open. I send that about 10 minutes after the store has opened with a link to buy. That is seriously like 3 sentences. It's like really, really short. Now, during these 3 days, I'm reiterating that information inside of my Facebook group for my CSA. So I'm hitting them a second time because most of my clients are my CSA members who buy this, right? So I know that that's where they're hanging out. And then on cart open day, I have a post in my Facebook group for my CSA members where I say, hey, comment once you've purchased something in the plant sale. Like, let us know, did you get something? And I'm kind of hoping that we'll have a bunch of social proof happening there. Now, the majority of my sales will come in on day 1 and 2. I purposely schedule this launch to happen on a weekend so that this will happen. I want people to be home from work so they all have an equal chance of getting up at 8 a.m. to buy. That isn't really fair if I open it, at 3 p.m. on a Thursday. Like, most people are going to miss that message and won't be able to buy even if they want to. The remaining sales will dribble in over the remaining 2 weeks. And if I really need to push more sales, I'll post about it more on my social media channels, and I might even send out a few more emails, targeted emails to people who haven't already bought. So I'll create tags, of people who've purchased, and I'll remove them from those emails. Okay, so that's kind of the sale process, how it works for us. And I have a really good idea then. I'll have a good idea by the second day of the sale, of the promotion, of what are the popular products and how are we doing. And if I notice that I'm going to have a ton of, like, that we had planned to make a ton more cucumbers, but I didn't sell that many, then we might actually do some shifting in terms of our production. We might be like, hey, let's bump down our inventory of cucumbers by a flat and instead do a flat of this because this product is already sold out. We need to add more cherry tomatoes or whatever, right? So it kind of make some adjustments there. All right, fulfillment. Let's talk about what that looks like. So The transplants are growing. They're growing for several months. Come May, we start to hint that they're almost ready. So we'll start to share pictures of them throughout that time period as they're growing, just to remind our customers, like, yes, we're taking care of your babies. Everything's okay. The week before, though, we're really beginning to talk a lot more about that in our Facebook group and on social media. We have 2 weekends where we distribute the plants. Again, Saturdays, 2 different Saturdays from 10 a.m. to noon. One of them we always coincide with Mother's Day because I just think it's cool. And we'll email the customers 3 days before to remind them about their pickup, and we'll explain the details of how to pick up their product. It's all drive-through, so we just have people waiting in our driveway. I have a team of volunteers that helps me pass those out. Now, here's how we do this. When we're actually packing the plants, I should back up because this explains the fulfillment a little bit. I have other volunteers that just help me build the plant sale orders. So the day before each of the weekends, I have about 6 different people that come out and help me. And it's a full 7 or 8 hour process to get these done because we have about 150 orders to do each day. And so we've got all of the different varieties on wagons and on tables in our pack shed. And I have them by category, but also alphabetically, like in the order in which they would appear. If somebody bought every single plant from me, they appear in a certain order based on Local Line's invoice and how they do that. So I make sure that they're in that order. That way, there's a rhyme and a reason for my packers as they're going around trying to find the plants. There's sort of a rhythm and there's an organization behind where they are, and they can kind of learn very quickly where everything is, and it just allows for the pack process to go a lot faster, right? So there is some thought given to that. I print out the packing slips, or the invoices, I should say, and we use those as our pack slips. I have 2 people per team. I have different teams that are helping build the plant orders. One person will go around and fill the box with the plants, and then they bring it to the check table. And then that another person who's the other part of that team, they're responsible for reviewing the order and making sure that it's accurate. And that is something that we added last year, which has been super helpful because sometimes we were missing duplicates. Somebody would order like 3 of the same plant, and my packer would miss it and only put in 1. So we'd have an upset customer. So this has really reduced the number of errors by having a person double checking. Now, each of those orders, once they're all kind of boxed, we put them into these beer boxes that we get from a local beer place or a local drive-through in our town. Once they're all in there and they've been checked, each order is then assigned a number. And that number is based on, again, alphabetically. So the first person with the letter A is going to be order number 1 and so forth, all the way to Z. That number is written on the invoice, but it's also written on the box. And so when the customer then comes and picks up, they tell me their name. I can look up their name on my checklist, and my checklist includes their order number. And I can yell out to my crew, their order number 5, and then their last name. And then they can go and look for order number 5 on the wagon where it has been organized. So all the boxes have been kind of sorted that way in a certain order, and they can quickly find it. Sometimes they have 4 boxes of plants, and they'll bring all 4 boxes and put them in the car. It's a pretty quick process. If somebody doesn't show up, they get a call from me or a text, and I'll just leave their plants out on the wagon, and I tell them, you've got to come get it by tonight. We'll water it for you a couple more days, but we're not going to babysit your plants forever. I'm just really blunt. Now, I wanted to bring up a couple more things before I wrap up. During the pickup on the final weekends, remember we have 2 weekends in a row that we do this. On the second weekend, when I have some plants left over. So we have finished filling the orders, and I now am confident that I have whatever I have left over is what I have left over in the greenhouse, right? And I want to try and sell those. And so last year, this was kind of an innovation that worked out really well. I offered a plant sale wagon. It was sort of a last minute thing that I thought of, and I publicized it on social. I emailed my customers who were coming to pick up, but I also emailed my whole list the night before, and I said, hey, we have some extra plants left over. If you missed out and you want to come grab some, you can come to the pickup from 10 to noon and just park your car and walk up to the plant wagon, and here's the price, grab what you want, pay cash. So not only did we have people from the public and people from the email list who missed out on this come and do that, but we had some of our customers who had already purchased plants, picking up boxes of transplants. They would come park their car after they got their box and go and get even more. So we sold at least another $1,500 just in 2 hours from walk-ins. So don't miss out on that opportunity. That was really easy. Make sure you have clear signage on the wagon so people know what the plants are. I labeled all of them with tape so people could see. Now, here are some quick 4 ideas that I want to make sure I mention. Number 1, make sure that you've labeled the individual 3-packs so that the customer knows what plant is what. We did not do that our first year, and it was a hot mess because, number 1, our packers had a hard time telling and double checking, I don't know which tomato variety this is from that tomato variety, because people will buy multiple tomatoes, right? And you can't double check unless there's a marker in each one. Your customer also isn't going to know which type of pepper is that unless it has a marker in it. So just make sure you got some plant labels in there. I feel like I need to say that. Sort your customer sales report for this year. So if you do this, sort out the report and then download that and load those emails into your email provider and add a tag that says plant sale 2024 or whatever. That way you can target them. You can either remove them from an email you want to send to anybody else who hasn't bought yet, but you can also target them next year because you know that they buy transplants, right? So it helps you segment your audience. Another idea was to consider creating a price anchor. So we actually very seriously thought about this. I was going to do it, to be honest. I wanted to create a kitchen garden starter bundle where I basically built a package that was valued at around our average order value, around $45-50 of the favorite starter veggie startups. And I wanted to do this because I figured there might be some people who are just overwhelmed by the whole process. They want to start a garden and they just want it to be simple. Somebody tell me what I should get. You pick them out. I trust you and I'll figure it out. And then that could even include a little map, that gives a suggested picture of here's how you would even plant these and where they would go and how far apart they would be. That could be a little bonus feature that comes with it. Now, if you sold something like that, obviously that would be at a higher price point. That might be at a $50 price point. And what that does is it creates a price anchor in your store. So that should be the first thing that they see. It should be near the top of your menu of items. And it sets the expectation we're playing at the $50 table. This is how much, and that's a higher, it's a higher amount. And then they start to see prices that are more like $4 or $5. And those prices don't seem so high for them or suddenly spending, $20 on transplants or $30 on transplants or their own order doesn't feel weird because they've seen another bundle at 50 or 60 or whatever you decide you want it to be. Does that make sense? I have a whole episode all about price anchoring. I'm not going to go into it, but it is a huge concept that you absolutely need to know. It's going to blow your mind and it's going to help you sell so much more stuff once you know about price anchoring. So the only reason we didn't do a price anchor was because Kurt was like, you know what, that's going to be a lot of extra work on our end for creating that bundle in the first place, pulling those plants out, keeping that all organized. And he's like, Karina, we really just don't need to do that. If we needed and could sell more product and, we didn't have a ceiling on that, then that's a great idea. But he's like, that is not an issue for us. We're going to sell out and we're going to sell out fast. So I don't think we should add complication into our product mix. And so that's why we didn't do it. But I just want to make you aware that that's a really cool idea. And I think you should totally try it. You could even have different sizes of kitchen garden bundles. So I also considered doing a 5-day kitchen garden challenge, which would have been an email list building campaign. My idea for that was in the week before 2 weeks before we were going to start selling, that I would start to educate my audience about what do you have to do to start getting your kitchen garden ready. And I was going to break it up into 5 steps. And each day I was going to focus on a different step. And it would be a quick video where I taught the thing. And I was even thinking about putting it into an email sequence once I had recorded it, creating an email sequence, one per day for 5 days, and then linking up the videos in there so they could go watch the video after the fact and turning it into an evergreen kind of list builder for me. Again, ultimately, I decided not to do that primarily because I got sick with pneumonia. And so I've been really operating at very low minimal levels as I heal. But also, again, because I realized that I could simply say things like, hey, get our price list and get on my email list here. And that was so much easier for me to grow my email list than creating this big, elaborate 5-day campaign kitchen garden challenge, which is cool. If you had a big garden center, you might want to do something like that because it's worth it. It's your main product. But for me, it just didn't make sense. So I didn't do it. But I wanted to give that to you as an idea for those of you who are listening. Okay, that's how I did it. There you go. For those of you who are wondering, little tutorial. Hope that was a nice little roadmap. If you have done a plant sale and you've got another tip to share with me, would you reach out to me and email it to me? MyDigitalFarmers with an S at gmail.com, and just tell me something else, another little tip, because gosh, I love collecting them. I would love to hear from you. Okay, that's all I have. Remember, if you want to go and get the actual price list Canva template, go to mydigitalfarmer.com/plant sale. That's where it's going to be. Okay. I don't know if it'll be there forever, but it'll at least be there for the next 6 months. Okay. And if you want to participate in my I Spy and Offer challenge that I'm starting on March 18th in a few days, go subscribe to mydigitalfarmer.com/I Spy. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. Some of them I have ideas for, but I'm also going to be kind of living in the moment live, and I'm going to be looking for cool ideas, and I'm just going to kind of share them. Hey, I saw this. I spotted this thing. I wanted to share it with you. So I hope you'll participate in that with me. It'll be something fun we can do together. Now, today's show notes can be found at mydigitalfarmer.com/253. If you liked this episode, or if you want to share it with a farmer friend, please go grab that URL of the episode and go text it to your buddy and tell them you've got to start listening to this podcast. I would love for more people to know that we are here for them. If you want to get onto my email list, I've got some awesome free stuff to send your way. Remember, go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe and I'll get you hooked up. And you can follow me on Instagram at mydigitalfarmer, especially during the I Spy and Offer challenge. I'm going to be there going live. I can't wait. Hope to connect with you there. Thanks for joining me, you guys. Have a great week. And remember, I believe in you. Bye-bye.